Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're joining us today because honestly, we are embarking on a deeply personal and powerfully empowering journey together. Today, we're diving into a concept that has the potential to fundamentally rewire how you approach setbacks, heartbreak, and really just hardship in general. We're unpacking the profound ideas behind the sovereignty of responsibility. And look, this isn't just about high-level theories or abstract concepts. This is about equipping you with the actual mental frameworks to take absolute ownership of your future, no matter what your past looks like. Let's get right into it. I want you to just sit with this statement for a second. It may not be your fault, but if it affects your life, it becomes your responsibility to respond. Wow, that is a heavy distinction, isn't it? Just take a second to let the sheer weight of those words land. We spend so much time tangled up in the origins of our pain, but this quote, it forces us to look not backward at who threw the stone, but forward at who actually has to clear the glass.
Section 1. The unfair reality.
Because let's be totally honest here and approach this with deep empathy, life gets incredibly messy, and very often it happens through absolutely no fault of our own. Just looking at how these causes visually stack up here, the sheer volume of unfairness we face as human beings is literally staggering. Someone else's mistake, a deep betrayal, systemic injustice, complex family problems, terrible timing, sudden sickness, or even just random accidents. Any single one of these can blow a hole right through your perfectly planned life. The pain is real, the trauma is real, and the circumstances completely beyond your control are entirely real. Your pain is completely valid, and yes, it is profoundly unfair.
Section 2. Fault versus responsibility. Okay, let's dive into this.
Because here is where we really have to execute a major pivot. The distinction between these two concepts? It's absolutely everything. Fault is all about who caused the damage, but responsibility, that's about who must deal with it right now. If the damage is inside your life, your body, your mind, your family, your bank account, your relationships, waiting for the guilty person to suddenly realize their mistake and fix everything is exactly what keeps us stuck. Listen to the sharp contrast here. Fault leaves you waiting. Responsibility gets you moving. You literally cannot put your healing on hold while waiting for an apology that might never, ever come.
Which brings us to Section 3, the trap of blame.
Now, I want to validate something right off the bat. Blame is often 100% accurate, justice matters, boundaries matter, and accountability absolutely matters. But relying on blame as your primary strategy, that is a devastating trap. Blame is an amazing diagnostic tool. It can identify the cause with laser precision, but it cannot rebuild your life. Saying they caused this or they should pay is a completely understandable human reaction. Emotionally, it makes total sense, but reciting those facts doesn't automatically make you stronger, healthier, freer, or more peaceful. Your healing simply cannot depend entirely on whether another person decides to become fair. Because if we hold on to that identity of being a victim forever, it slowly creates these incredibly limiting, crushing beliefs. Things like, I cannot recover, people always hurt me, nothing good will ever happen, or my life is completely ruined. These beliefs literally drown a person. They take one deeply painful event and twist it into a permanent life script. As the source material so beautifully notes, the wound happened once, but the belief keeps reopening it, day after day. So, I want to pose this question directly to you, right now. If blame won't rebuild your life, even when the blame is perfectly accurate, what will? How do we actually transition out of being stuck and take our power back?
Let's look at Section 4, Reclaiming Your Power.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between these two paradigms. We're reframing responsibility not as some heavy, unfair burden you have to drag around, but as the ultimate reclamation of your own power. The victim mentality whispers, because someone hurt me, my life is now in their hands. It just gives all your agency away. But responsibility stands up and declares, someone may have hurt me, but my future is still in my hands. That is a massive, life-altering shift. It's the declaration that you will not let an unfair event become the final author of your life story.
Moving on to Section 5, The Nuance of Healing.
Now, taking responsibility is incredibly powerful, but it requires a nuanced understanding of what healing actually looks like. It does not mean excusing what happened, denying the injustice, or pretending that the pain is somehow a good thing. The source material gives us this wonderfully grounded roadmap. Before you try to jump straight to step 6 and just grow, you must grieve. You must rest. You must process, accept reality, and regain your emotional stability. The real danger here is rushing into making your trauma an immediate lesson.
Pain can become strength, for sure, but you cannot skip the messy, quiet, difficult work of resting and processing first. Only then can you slowly begin to ask how the experience might make you wiser.
And this brings us to one of my absolute favorite reframes in this entire concept. Healing is not pretending pain was good. Healing is saying, even this will not be wasted. What a warm, yet powerfully hard-hitting way to look at the worst things that happen to us. You don't have to be grateful for the terrible thing, but you can eventually use it to expand your compassion, to awaken your perspective, and to forge a much wiser version of yourself.
Section 6. Choosing who you become.
This is where the energy really peaks, guys, because this is about deciding that your future will absolutely not be controlled by what harmed you. This is the definitive, intentional end of victimhood. I did not choose everything that happened to me, but I will choose what I become because of it. This is arguably the strongest mindset a human being can adopt. It is the ultimate choice of action over helplessness and growth over victimhood. Not because life suddenly became fair, but because you decided you're the one holding the pen.
At the end of the day, there is an unavoidable, undeniable truth staring right at you. It is your life. No one else can live it for you.
It is your body, the physical vessel you inhabit, carrying you through every single day. It is your mind, your thoughts, your family, your relationships. These are the sacred spaces of your existence.
And ultimately, it is your peace. Because of all this, your very first duty is to rebuild yourself. If something damages that peace, your duty isn't to win the blame game. You take responsibility not because the people who hurt you are innocent. They probably aren't. You take responsibility because your life is simply too valuable to leave in their hands.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you long after this explainer wraps up. Will you leave your valuable life in their hands, or will you take responsibility to rebuild yourself? The sovereignty of your life belongs to you. It's time to reclaim it. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible topic today, and I'll see you next time.